Welcome to CT Sews. I'm Colleen, and today I'm going to be making a needle book. And once again, we'll use good old faithful Kimberbell background quilting. I'm just trying to show people how to make the best of use from their designs. And anyway, this is just a little notebook made with a 4x8. And just nice and easy to store your pins and needles when traveling, going to class. It's got a little pocket there and that side, and tied with a nice bow. This is another one. You can see this is a smaller one. And this one I made with background quilting. Actually, it's called backdrop quilting from Designs by Juju. But I'll explain that later. This one was done in a 4x7 from Designs by Juju, and this one is a 4x8 from Kimberbell. So all we'll need for this, besides our Kimberbell quilting designs and any design you want to put on the front, this is just black work, red work, whatever you want to call it. And this is a monogram. All you'll need is a 6x10 hoop with some cutaway stabilizer, some fabric. I've put SF101 just behind the top fabric, the main fabric, just so that the whatever design we're going to put on top, it will sit better without puckering and just looking a bit untidy. I will say that I did not put any backing, fusible backing behind these fabrics, and they came out just fine. But the design for today, I feel it will need the SF101, and then of course the back fabric. Whatever size you're going to do, all you do is whichever size you choose, you will need fabric at least 1 inch larger widthwise and lengthwise. So if I've got a 4x8, then this would be a 5x9 piece of fabric. And another piece equal the length, and I've done this by 5 because this fabric is the design is actually 4 inches wide. So I've cut this by 5 and folded it in half. Wind it down the middle because that will be our pocket, and just some felt, whatever color you feel will match your fabrics, and ribbon or lace. I've run out of ribbon that will match this color, so lace will do for today. A piece of batting, and whatever threads that's going to match your fabric. So we'll go over to the machine and set up the design. Okay, so we're at the machine and we're going to set up our design. And I'll go to my USB. Now I'll show you what the problem is with Design by Juju. They have beautiful designs, and this is called Juju backdrops. So it doesn't matter which backdrop design you purchase. You know, I like to purchase it, put it onto my USB, put it into my machine, and I'm ready to go. So I've done that with Designs by Juju. So I open it up, and this is what you see. A long name by each design. I cannot see the size, so I have to go to my computer and open it up in my software. And yes, I do that if I want to put multiple blocks in one hooping, or when I want to manipulate designs and that. I go and I work with my Embrilliance, but there are times that I just want to sit at the machine and have a play, and I'll use that design, and I think, oh no, okay, I don't like it, I'll try something else. But I don't want to be running to my computer every 2 minutes because I can't see the size of these files. And they have beautiful, beautiful designs, and it's such a shame. I've emailed them and they just tell me that I can change the name myself, which, yes, I can, but there's so many designs, it's going to take me forever in a day to change the name of each and every one. But if I'm to go to Kimberbell, I've got hundreds of them. I can purchase any one, open it up, and boom, have a look at that. I can see the size of every design, and it just makes life so much pleasurable to come and sit at the machine and just make whatever you want, spur of the moment. Anyway, I want a 4x8. I'm going to use that one. And the difference is between the two is that Kimberbell puts a 1/4 inch around their blocks. So if I was to take, let's go back. If I was to take a 6x10, this hoop is a 6x10, right? And if I was to choose a 6x10 design, it's not going to fit in my 6x10 hoop because they add, there's a 6x10 and I've got my 6x10 hoop in, and oh well, it's actually accepted it. That's weird. 6x10, because normally it says that it doesn't fit. Of course, it will do it because I've got the video on. But Designs by Juju, they do not add that in. So when they say 6x10, it's a true 6x10, which is really good. But of course, you have to go and sit at your computer and set up your designs. Go and choose your designs before starting your project. So that's my 4x8. I'm going to put it in my 6x10 hoop, and I'm going to add a design. I'm going to put a giraffe on it. I love my animals. So there's my giraffe. So he's actually in the wrong rotation, so I'm going to go to edit, rotate, and just turn him that way. So my design is in the middle of my hoop. My machine knows I'm in a 6x10 hoop, and so the giraffe has obviously gone smack bang in the middle, but it's going to be a book, so we need him on this side so that it can be on the front of the cover. So we'll move him up, and I'm going to make him a little bit smaller simply because he's kind of touching the edges and he just needs to be shrunk a little bit. So I'll just shrink him a little bit, and that's fine. I can also see that he's going to kind of stitch up in the air. Somewhere up there, it's the bottom part. We need him to come right down to the bottom into the seam, so that, because the rest of his body is not part of the design, so we need him to be coming out of the seam so that he doesn't look like he's lost his body. So I'm gonna, this is the seam here. This is kind of a cut line. Not really a cut line, but it just helps you find the cut line easier. It's kind of there, but you do need to make sure you square up your block properly when piecing. In this case, it doesn't matter. So here's a little bit into the seam, and I'm happy with that, so I'm going to accept that. And he looks like he's nicely in the middle, so press embroidery and we'll start embroidering. Okay, I have my thread in my machine and everything ready to go, and we're going to stitch a placement line for the batting. So I've cut my batting. I'm used to actually cutting it exactly the size. If your batting is bigger, just place it down and the machine is going to tack it down for you, and then you'll cut close to the stitches. I've actually cut my batting exactly the right size, so as you can see it fits into the area perfectly. So I'm not going to do that tack down because it's just going to stitch on the outside, and and it might pull up my batting. I don't need to do it, so I'm going to skip that step, and I'll show you how that is done. Just go to needle plus minus, and then that square is showing, the orange square is showing it's going to tack down the batting. And now it's showing that it's going to give you a placement line for your top fabric. So I'm not going to do that either because I know it's going to go straight over that batting, and as long as my fabric is large enough, I'm safe. So I'm going to go straight to the tack down line of the fabric. That's a bad habit of mine. I shouldn't be teaching that. But I cut my batting to the right size. I usually leave it bigger for the video, but when I'm sewing on my own, I'm always cutting it to the perfect size just because I like to break the rules. So I'm going to fit this on. I'm going to put that. This is where you can use basting spray, but I live in Australia and it's really difficult for me to find a quilt shop that sells these things, and when I do, no one will post it to me, basting spray, because it's dangerous, and I wouldn't expect them to do that because I don't expect. No, it's not good. So now I'm going to tack down this fabric. So this is the piece with SF101 on the back. And now we're going to do the quilting, the all-over quilting. And that will take 3 minutes. The whole stitch out says 21 minutes, but I will pause the video in between so that you're not bored watching the same old same. So that's the background quilting, and then we'll go on to stitching the giraffe. Our giraffe coming along, very cute. So this is the part where you stitch on any design that you'd like on your needle book. Really anything could do, monograms or anything that catch your fancy. It's just being creative. I love animals, so giraffe is what it's going to be for me. There we go, isn't he cute? So now it's time to add your ribbon and your pocket. So it depends, it's up to you. If you want a pocket going, if you'd like a pocket going this way, then this is where we're going to place our fabric. But if you want a pocket going down the side on each end, then cut shorter pieces and place them one on this side and one on that side with the fold facing inward. But I'm going to do mine this way. First we're going to place our ribbon, and because I know the design is exactly in the middle of the hoop, I know that this is going to be the middle of my design. So I'm just going to place, I didn't have ribbon, so we're working with lace, and I think that would be pretty too. And so I'm going to place this in the middle in line with that, and I'm just going to tape it down. And also on this side. In line with that once again. And tape it down so it doesn't move on me. And then our pocket, which we've folded in half, and just ironed it in the middle and folded it. We're going to place that. I'm going to put a bit of tape over this so that it stays put and not get in under the needle, because we don't feel like ripping out stitches today. So we're going to put this down here, covering at least by 1/4 of an inch. We'll be covering the stitch line, covering that stitch line there, and it's got to overlap this stitch line and that stitch line. So let's place it over there as straight as possible. I like to place my hoop on my mat in line with the lines on my mat, so it kind of guides me as to how to place my fabric, and that's fine. Yep, happy with that. And then I'm going to take my back fabric, place it pretty side down. If you have a design on your pocket, put the pretty side in, facing down, so that it will be facing. This is just the ugly one I made a long time ago. But sometimes you make a pocket and you have a design. Put the pretty side facing down, facing the top, so that when you turn it out, it's going to be facing this way. And this covering all the stitch of the stitch area. And you can put some tape down to just keep it in place for you while it's traveling through the sewing machine. So back to the sewing machine. So once again, the machine thinks it's finished with the design. We'll agree to that, but it actually takes you right back to the very first step of the whole design. So we go to needle plus minus, and let me show you. We on the first step, which is 0. Go to the next step, it will show the second step. That's the one we do. The one that would normally tack down your batting. So that's the step we want. And what we're going to do is, down at the bottom of the design, this is where we want to leave our opening. So that's the front, that would be the front cover. This is the back cover. So we're going to leave an opening somewhere along here so that we can turn the design through. So, I better change my thread back to a neutral thread that will match this color. Right, we've got the right color thread in now, so let the machine sew. I'm gonna stop it there. And I'll just knot it, tie it off. If your machine doesn't have that feature, just cut the thread. It's okay. It's not the end of the world. It will still be just fine. And then advance by 20 to 30 stitches. I just press the +10 3 times. Right. And off, and then I like to start it off by pressing this again. And off we go. And the needle actually travels around twice. So I'll stop it again when we get there. Tie it off. Cut it. Advance by 30. Knot it. And off we go. Right, we'll meet you at the table where we'll take it out of the hoop and turn it through, and then add the felt. Here we go. Time to take it out of the hoop. And we can trim everything away, but here where the opening is, just leave some extra fabric because it makes it easier to close it later. So I normally cut about 1/4 inch away from the stitch line. And this one, I'll just cut it to there. 1, 2. And then I'll just cut the excess fabric from around the corners to lessen the bulk in the seams when you turn it through. I'm always leaving my pointer on the other side of the... Try and poke your corners. Right, and this guy should be on that side. And you can cut your ribbon lace. So I'll just give this a quick press by the machine. Just iron that in. And then we're gonna top stitch around the whole circumference. There we go. I've turned it through. I've given it a good pressing, and the opening I tucked in the excess fabric into the inside and just ironed it nicely just to keep it nice and neat. So now we're going to top stitch. I've got my machine set up for sewing, changed my foot, and I'm just going to do a straight stitch, going to do a top stitch going around the edge, and that will automatically close that opening. So I'll just go right to the end, and I'm using a blending thread. You can use whatever thread you like. Be creative if you want to use a different color thread. And here we go. What's going on? Come on. Okay, my machine is not happy. Oh well. If you plug the foot of the machine in, then the machine will be happy. Oh, I'm off with the fairies sometimes. Let's go around. So this is where the opening is. It will just automatically close the opening. Where did I start? I don't even know where I started. Oh, okay. I did say I was off with the fairies. And that's done. I'll just knot it off and cut it. Right, so now we need to add in our sleeves. I'm going to change my foot to a middle one. So I'm going to add in the felt, and I haven't actually, I've made sure that the width will fit into the book, but I know that is too long. That's fine, I'm going to cut it later. But first of all, we need to find the middle of this guy. I love my giraffe, he's so beautiful. So that should be my middle. I will measure it to make sure. Boom. Okay. That's 4. Yep, that's the middle. And that's the middle. I suppose I should just put a bit of ink. I don't like putting ink on my fabric. So this I'll line up where I like it. So as long as I know it's nicely centered here and overlapping at the ends, I don't care about the ends at this moment, as long as it's centered nicely here, which looks kind of okay now. And once again, we're just gonna straight stitch. So I'm gonna line my pin up there, lower my foot, pull that pin out, drop my needle, and I'll just secure that. And I'll let this pin travel on this red line. And I'll probably still get it skewed because I'm good like that. I'll pull it out so that my needle don't hit it. Oops, sorry. Oops. So there's our pages going in. So I'll just go over to the table and we'll trim back these pages. Okay, so what I usually do is I'll get that part out of the way. I need to trim that thread. Fold this down. This is just a pinking blade so that it gives it a nice pretty edge, but the straight edge is just as fine. I'll just cut that thread. So once again I can see I'll line the book up with the lines on my table, and I can see this is probably 1/4 of an inch away from the 6 on my mat. So I'm gonna place my ruler on that number 6, line it up, take my shears, my rotary cutter, and cut that away. And here we go. Nice book with lots of space to put your bits and pieces, bits and bobs. Just make sure your scissors has a protector on it, because that will poke a hole, and yeah, you're ready to go. You can make this any size that suits your comfort. If you have big tools and stuff, you need a bigger book, then by all means you use a bigger design, and at the end of the day you'll come out with the same project. And there we go. And these are good and easy to make and sell at the markets, and they're just easy to travel around with. And I keep one by my armchair in the lounge, so that if I want to sew something, then I've got my necessities, I should say. This was a big one I made, but I don't like it because I used a very busy thread, variegated thread, and I should not have done it. So yeah, that one just stays here by me. Anyway, thank you very much for joining me today. I babbled on a lot. I hope I didn't bore you too much, but thank you very much for joining me. I appreciate it. Please like and subscribe, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Bye now.